So what you'll experience over the next couple of hours hopefully will inspire you and stretch your thinking across multiple dimensions. So we take on challenging opportunities to radically improve the way that people live. We leverage human capital. We uncover large systemic issues. We collaborate with leaders across government, industry, and academia. We empower citizens for peer-to-peer invention. And we are able to leapfrog with data and digital technology. So the focus is on impact, social impact. So let me give you some examples. So these are some of the big opportunities, the types of big opportunities that we look at. Imaging for good, low-cost wearables for good. How do you use AI and big data to really make a big difference? How can we use machine learning for digital health? And how can we enable people to have their own street address using some sophisticated mapping technology? We talk about digital technologies, lots of different kinds of things, big focus on what's possible with large quantities of data, machine learning and AI, and sensors are probably at the top of the list, but many of these other things are relevant as well. Wanted to just give you a sense of where we are. So worldwide, we are up in the US, that's the Media Lab symbol. We also have collaborations with folks at Sinvestav in Mexico, as well as with an organization called MedHacker in Sao Paulo, Brazil. And we do much of our work in India as well, so I'm blocking off India with these logos. But Digital Impact Square is the Tata Consultancy Services Initiative in Nashik. RedX Mumbai is at the Wellinkar Institute, which is a business school in Mumbai. And LVP Mitra is the laboratory that's at the LVP I Institute in Hyderabad. So lots of different kinds of solutions, big focus on digital, and big focus on impact, as I had mentioned. So just to give you a sense of whom we're working with, Tata Consultancy is our main sponsor with their Digital Impact Square lab. We also have collaborators, as I mentioned, at the WE School or the Wellinkar Institute, and their RedX lab, LV Prasad I Institute, and their LVP Mitra lab. We've had visitors who are Media Lab members come with us from VSP, which is Vision Services Plan. Vision Service Plan. Yep, the Vision Service Plan at VSP Global, and IKEA, which all of you know is a furniture manufacturer, and the Inter-American Development Bank, which is a bank that's focused on doing good for folks in Latin America in particular. On the government level, we have really great relationships with the central government of India, with the government of Maharashtra, which is the main state which holds both Mumbai and Nashik, and with the municipal corporation of Nashik, which is the city government in Nashik. Nashik, by the way, is about 2 hours or so from Mumbai. In addition, we have a coalition of Media Lab scientists who are connected to the program. So all of these symbols are part of the logo design within the Media Lab. So camera culture, changing places, which is, so camera culture is Ramesh Raskar's lab. Changing places, Kent Larson. Civic media is Ethan Zuckerman. Human dynamics, Sandy Pentland. Macro connections is Cesar Hidalgo. And scalable cooperation is Iyad Rahwan. They have all had different levels of participation in this effort. So DISC, as I mentioned, is a TCS Foundation initiative. They opened their center in March of 2016. And again, it's all digital. They currently have 60 innovators, but many have graduated as well from the early cohorts. They currently have, I believe, 18 projects, but I may get corrected today. And there are 5 smart city projects with city government. I also should point out that there are 6 posters outside that represent the projects that are going on in Nashik. And when we conclude our session here, I recommend that you all take a look at what those posters are about. They're really interesting. Digital Impact Square is the website if you'd like to learn more. And these are some of these are the themes or big categories of topics that they're addressing. Everything from housing and transportation, education, finance, and everything in between. So we have a process we call our framework. We call it our spot probe framework. And this is what enables us to go from analysis to implementation relatively quickly. It's a process that enables us to spend time deliberately thinking about what is the problem and how can we really define it in a way that is going to be meaningful. So SPOT is really understanding the problem, understanding who all the stakeholders are, and what all of the data flows are, for example, and what already exists in terms of the kinds of solutions that people are working with. In the probe phase, we look at what's possible, what kinds of technologies are going to make sense, and we run scenarios and say, maybe a little of this and a little of that will make the best kind of solution, and then building out the prototype and of course launching it are the next 2 phases. So we run workshops or sprints. Sometimes sprints, sometimes a longer workshop to uncover challenges. And we start by thinking about the overall problem, and we put together these problem canvases, and this is an example. We'll also go through a solution canvas exercise and then conclude with what we call a findings plot, which shows on a very simple level on 2 axes of time and cost, and then the third axis essentially being that third dimension of impact. And we make some assumptions and say, okay, we want to go for where there's going to be big impact and where we clearly have, where there's clearly a need. And then we figure out, is it going to take a long time or not so long, and what's the cost, and what does the whole landscape look like? We have a whole team. We call this our EW team, or Emerging Worlds team, who's traveled to India together multiple times. Several people from different groups around the Media Lab, and also our friend Emil, who's from Sloan. But everybody is representing different groups from Emerging Worlds, Camera Culture, Scalable Cooperation, Effective Computing, and Living Mobile have all come with us. And what we do when we go is we run these kinds of workshops, and we also will mentor many of the innovators who are on site, and we look for opportunities to make a difference. We also have recently set up a leadership council of MIT students who represent all kinds of parts of MIT, from Sloan, the business school, from different labs. There are a few folks who are involved in programs here at the Media Lab, as well as people who are in specialized programs like IDM and SDM, for example, mechanical engineering, and specialty areas such as blockchain. And they're helping us to just think through what are we doing and how can we do things even better. And some of them have taken on some projects which are just starting to be framed. So as soon as we have something more concrete, happy to share. But I just wanted to let you know that there's a fair amount of interest on campus, and these folks have stepped up, and it's a great group. So what makes Emerging Worlds unique is, just as kind of a recap, we're addressing big problems, working with data and digital technology. We have our Spot, Probe, Grow, Launch framework, working with MIT Media Lab scientists, and providing social impact. This, by the way, is a picture from the Disc Center in Nashik. If any of you get a chance to go, it's an amazing place, and you'll hear more about it shortly. So my final slide is how to engage. So Media Lab members, in particular, this is an easy way to engage, is propose a challenge that we can all work on together. Let's refine that to something that, that makes sense for all of us to work on, and then we leverage our collective skills and hopefully make a big difference in many people's lives. So with that, this is my contact information, zonis@mit.edu, if anyone wants to reach out to me directly. But I think most of you know how to reach me. Next, I am going to introduce Lakshmi Srinivasan. So Lakshmi is the liaison, director of liaison for the Media Lab, and he's been working for quite a while on this initiative at TCS. And he's going to give us an overview of, an update on what TCS has been up to lately and what the innovators are doing and what's particularly interesting. So I'll turn it over to Lakshmi.